Hello friends, this is a quick video to show you how to set the window of your TI-nSpire to fit all of the critical points for a polynomial function. So this is the function I'm going to start with, but I'm going to start at the very beginning. When you turn your calculator on, you get this. I'm going to start with a new document, and the first thing I'm going to do is add a graph page. And this is the standard window for the graph page. So that function that you were just looking at is the one I'm going to type in. It's negative. Notice I start with if it's a leading coefficient, I use this negative sign, not the minus sign. Negative 10x to the third power. To do an exponent, we got the caret, and then with 3. Notice the cursor is still in the exponent, and so if I want to continue to the next term, I'm going to right arrow to get out of there. Then I'm going to go plus 15x squared. If it's a squared term, I can just hit this handy x squared button. Then plus 16x, and then minus, and now I use the minus sign here, not the negative key, minus 12. And when I hit enter, I get a picture of this, the graph of this polynomial function. And I notice, because this is to the third degree, I know and it's negative, I know that it's going to go up to the left. It's going to go, as it goes to negative infinity on the x, it'll go to positive infinity on the y, and as it goes to positive infinity on the x, it'll go to negative infinity on the right. And I know it can change direction at most 2 times, so I can see it's going up here, so it comes down, it gets down to a bottom somewhere, and then it changes direction, it comes up. It goes above here. At some point it comes down. So these are my 2 changes in direction. So I must have a relative maximum in between these 2 pieces and a relative minimum between these 2. But even if you weren't sure what it was, sometimes with a large polynomial, these will just look like straight lines and you won't be sure just by looking at it. You can still try to analyze the same way, and it's only a minimum or a maximum. There's only 2 things to try. I can also see that my zeros here are going to be a little less than -1, and maybe that's 2 or something very close to 2. So the x-axis, I know my important points, I can just, if I just graph from maybe -3 to maybe 4, that's going to be enough to see all the critical values on the x-axis. So what about the y-axis? Well, let's find out where this minimum is. So I'm going to go Menu, 6 is Analyze Graph, and 2 is minimum. So menu 6, 2. And it's going to give you this question, what do you want the lower bound to be? So you're just going to, now I'm doing it on a computer, but if you had the handheld, you'd be using this little touchpad to slide this bar around anywhere to the left of this minimum. So I can click there, but I could click anywhere I want. And I'm just going to drag across until I'm past the point that I know contains the minimum. And when I hit enter, there it is. Now it's made this graph look horrible. But the key piece of information is that this minimum is at -15.4. So if I went down, say, to -20 on the y-axis, that would include the minimum. Notice I'm just dragging this with my mouse on the computer, but again, you could slide around with the touchpad and you get this hand, and if you click right here and hold, the hand will close and you can move any of these labels around. So I'll just leave that there for now. Let's go let's find out what exactly this maximum value is. Again, menu 6 is Analyze Graph. Find the maximum. I'm going to start on one side of this maximum and click and drag, and there it is. So it looks like if I go down to -20, up as high as +15, and as far left as -3 on the x-axis and +4 on the x-axis, that's going to include all of these important points. So to get to this window setting, menu 4 is window and zoom, and number 1 is window settings. And we said we want the x min to be -3, so negative sign 3, and I like to just tab through. We said the x max we want to go as high as 4. And this scale is just going to be how far apart these tick marks are. And so it makes sense to have this be 1 because I'm only having 7 of the units on the x-axis. And we said we want the y min to go as low as -20. And of course, I have to put that negative sign in. Negative 20 and as high as 15. Now, this is 35 units on the y-axis, so maybe I'll just make this y-scale 5. If I left the word auto in there, it would just do whatever it wanted. So you can always leave the auto in too. And then when you hit OK, see, now this is much easier to use. And I guess I have enough room, but if I wanted more room, I could make the y max higher or the y min lower. So here are these ordered pairs for the max and the min. If I wanted to find these zeros, again, I analyze graph, menu, 6, analyze graph, 1. Same trick with the lower bound. You can only find 1 0 at a time. So there's a 0, menu, 6, 1 again. Here's another 0 right there, and the third 0, menu, 6, 1 right there. So now I have all the critical points. I should know by looking at this that the y-intercept is going to be at negative 12. If I wanted to trace points, though, there is in the menu a trace. And if you hit 5-1, menu 5-1, so it's starting right here at the 0, and now I can just click, and there's just a point that's on the graph. And look, it tells you there's the y-intercept at negative 0, negative 12. It'll stop at the minimum and show you that. It'll stop at the 0, and I can just trace away, and it'll go over all these critical points that you need.